So the internet is becoming an increasingly dangerous place nowadays. Data breaches are becoming a daily occurrence. Um, One of the more common ways these data breaches occurs is through a form of hacking known as phishing. Phishing is an entry point for malware, viruses, data theft, and a variety of malicious activities. So what we're going to do is, if you can see my slides, I'm going to take you through the cybersecurity training course. All right, so what is phishing? Um, Phishing is a type of malicious attack aimed at stealing your personal data, such as things like your logon information for your Office 365 or your Facebook. Also aimed at stealing things like your credit card or debit information. How they do that is through impersonation. They try to imitate someone that you know, be it your boss, your manager, or a colleague. Or they send you a mail from a reputable source, something like SARS or your bank, and they try to steal your information that way. All right, so phishing, there's three types of phishing attacks, or three primary types. The first one being spear phishing. Spear phishing is probably the least common form of phishing. It's highly detailed. They know roughly who you are or what your position is in the organization. So, for instance, if they were wanting to steal money and they were targeting you, you'd probably be someone in the accounts department. An example is you get an unexpected email from your boss, and he wants to schedule a meeting right now to discuss some very important matters. We have had instances of things where you will get an email from this person purporting to be your boss, asking you to either pay money into a bank account you guys have never dealt with, or asking you to buy things, insane things like iTunes gift cards, and send them the numbers on that. The second type of phishing is clone phishing. This is slightly more common than spear phishing. And this is, for instance, you get your rates and taxes email or your Netflix account email on a monthly basis. You pay that account. A couple of days later, they have cloned this email. They send it back to you. So it has very similar look and feel. You want to trust this email, but what they do is they send it back saying that this payment bounced, asking you to pay again. However, they've now changed the bank details. And finally, the third type of phishing attack is known as phone scams, commonly known as vishing or smishing, depending on how you receive that. So if you receive it via SMS or call, and these are the type of calls where they want to get your personal information. So that's where they're calling you, advising you that they from some debt collection agency or from the bank, and they just want to verify your information. And this is where they take things down like your very personal information, like your ID number, your address, those types of details, in order to do nefarious things like open loans in your name or take out debt in your name. So those are the three types of phishing attacks you need to look out for. All right, so now that we know what types of attacks you need to look out for, why is phishing dangerous? So phishing is extremely dangerous for a number of reasons. The first being cyber criminals, they want to steal money from your bank account. So when they're phishing you and they're asking you to enter in your login information, or they're asking for usernames or password, whatever it is, their end goal is to either get one of two things, either your personal information or they're trying to steal money from you. So one of the big reasons it's dangerous is there's going to be loss of money. The other thing is when they're taking this personal information, as I said earlier, whether it's your personal address, your ID number, your name and surname, it's so that they can open debt in your name, and obviously, that's going to affect you as well. The other thing they like to do, if they perhaps get logons to your Facebook or your private OneDrives, those types of things, they want to steal your personal information, things like your pictures, your documents, your private information, and they'll hold you to ransom in order for you to get those documents and pictures back. They want to access your accounts, things like your Facebook. If they get into your Facebook, over and above stealing all your personal information, pictures, those types of things, they will then take the exact same messages and links that they've sent you to get into your stuff, and they'll forward on forward that on to all of your friends list, your contacts as you, which also has quite a negative effect, because if somebody on your friends list or contact list is affected from phishing because the message came from you, that has a further negative effect as well. They want to stop your company's operations. So how they would do that, if they are able to get onto your company network through phishing, getting your username, your password, they would then remove access to things like the company documents, company services, servers, or they'll steal money from your company, which also affects operations. And finally, it has a huge negative impact on your business's reputation if, for instance, they get into your account and then have access to your client information and they breach that information. You might be familiar with TransUnion last year, who got breached, and they lost 54 million customers' information, and that definitely has a negative effect on your business's reputation. Perfect. So now that we know why phishing is dangerous, what do you do if you've responded to a phishing email? As tech savvy as we all are, or as cautious as you being, mistakes and accidents do happen. What do you do if you've clicked on something or you've typed in your username? The first and most immediate thing that you want to do is change your password. So if, for instance, you received an email on your Office 365 or your Gmail, wherever it may be, and you've now responded to this phishing attempt from that, you want to change that password immediately so that they don't have that information. Further to that, if that password is the same password you use everywhere, you're going to want to change that password everywhere, because they then have that password, and that password then gets stored in a password database, and that gets passed around to all these nefarious characters. So you definitely don't want to have that password the same anymore. The other important thing to do is notify your bank. If, for instance, the type of scam or the phishing that took place has to do with money, whether they got your bank details or you've paid over money, you need to instantly notify your bank. This helps you in two ways. One, it will allow your bank to put a block on anything if need be. And second to that, if you're going to lodge a fraud case to get your money back, being able to say that you contacted the bank immediately it goes a long way with that case. And then finally, although I do think this should probably be the first, notify your IT department. Give us a shout. We're more than happy to assist. Even if you're not sure whether it is a scam or isn't, rule of thumb, rather ask than leave it. Give us a shout. We're always happy to assist, and we can assist you in changing all those passwords as quick as possible to minimize any risk to yourself, your personal information, or your company. Perfect. All right. How do you protect yourself from phishing? There are 4 rules of thumb that if you follow these, chances are you're not going to be affected by phishing. The first one is don't click suspicious links. I want to say 9 times out of 10, when a company is sending you an email, if they want you to have information, they're going to put it in the body of the mail, or they are going to give you an attachment for you to read. 9 times out of 10, if they're telling you to go to a link to read something, it's probably a scam. The reason they do that is because if they were to put that virus in the attachment, when it comes in, the email program or your email filtration system will remove that from the email. So they rather you click on the link and hopefully you're able to download and install that piece of nefarious software via the link. So rule of thumb, don't click on suspicious links. The second one is don't reply to suspicious emails. So if you're not sure, rather don't just reply. Follow the other things. Ask your IT company or ask us, and we'd be more than happy to check if that is a valid email. Don't post personal information. So to things like your social media, don't be overly personal with the information that you post, because things like social engineering, they use your public Facebook posts to spearfish you. So if you're posting things like, which department you're in for which company, they will target you using that information and build those emails in such a way that it looks valid because they have all this information on you, but it comes from your Facebook and the posts that you're doing. And finally, don't download suspicious attachments. If you're not sure, again, ask us to check those attachments for you. But in 9 times out of 10, if you're getting an attachment and it's in a zip file or a compressed format, it is going to be a scam. Things like PDFs are generally safe. However, if you open the PDF and then within the PDF is a link to somewhere else, that is definitely going to be a scam. And they're trying to circumvent those email filtration systems that are looking for links in the body of the email or compressed attachments. So with attachments, if it's zipped or compressed, avoid those at all costs. Or if you open that attachment and it's trying to take you somewhere else, that is going to be a scam for sure. So if we're following these 4 rules of thumb, the chances of getting phished are very, very, very slim. Perfect. And that is what we have on phishing.
Thank you very much for that information. And something that all of us need to be aware of. I'd like to take the moment just to open up for any questions that anyone does have before closing. Just as a reminder, the recording will be made available after the webinar, and it will be distributed through to all of the attendees. In order to ask questions, please make use of the chat feature, and you can then post it there. Perfect. To answer the first question, do I only need to worry about phishing attacks via mail? No. Phishing attacks can occur through phone calls. They can occur through social engineering, text, instant messaging, or even if there is existing malware on your machine. So if you don't have a good antivirus program, you are going to be prey to that sort of phishing attack. And they can track and manage your computer, send valuable information across to identity thieves. So it's very important to be vigilant at all times, not only on emails, but throughout all channels that they can attack you on. The next question that we have, fantastic, just all of the questions. Thanks, Kirby, do appreciate it. And then where can you report it to? Oh, so the details that you can report it to, if you're obviously with us, please report it directly to support@multi.co.za. If there is anything pertinent, please give us a call on any one of the contact lines, 08600 multi 68584. You can also call us on any one of the geo numbers, Johannesburg, Cape Town, or Durban. All of them are available on our website for you. And that is it. So we are running out of time, so I'm just going to make this the last question. The best defense. Well, the best defense is always having a email security system. So something that does scan the emails. That's going to eliminate almost 90 to 95% of the email threats coming through to your mailbox. Obviously, you being yourself, being vigilant is a great defense against these as well. Ensuring that you have a great antivirus that we just touched on earlier, that'll definitely go a long way. And then also, just as a rule of thumb, never use the same password on multiple accounts. That'll definitely ensure that you are protected a little bit further and above that. Perfect. So that was our last question. Just, I don't want to run over our time limits. I really just want to take the moment. Thank you very much for attending, and we will be distributing that webinar link and recording through to everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks everybody for your time.